This is Wailing Caverns as a protection paladin. Playing this character here, level 28. I have skipped ahead just a little bit with her. There were a couple of runs I'm opting not to show just because nothing too interesting happened. I'm leaving some room for leveling a druid at some point to get a tank perspective of those dungeons. Anyway, yeah, so Wailing Caverns. I'd had a couple of just like not so great runs leading up to this. And I don't know, I wanted to come here because Wailing Caverns is always a good time for me, and I just... Oh, really? Okay. Somebody didn't want to do it, apparently. I just needed a little bit of a confidence boost here. Like, the other dungeons didn't go all that badly, it's just... I don't know. Playing the tank role is a little bit more stressful than the others, and... Let's see, I had a Ragefire Chasm where... two of the damage dealers decided to start a fight with each other and just be super childish and annoying about it. Oh man, I don't want to go into the full story about it. I wasn't really involved in that at all, I was just present for it. But it was unpleasant and put a big damper on the mood there. I happened not to be recording at the time because I had already gotten Ragefire Chasm footage for this character, which, again, wasn't that interesting, so I'm opting not to show. But anyway, yeah, so that was really annoying. Then I had a Shadowfang Keep run where the healer could not figure out how to teleport to the dungeon for like a couple of minutes at the start. And I don't know, people weren't super happy about that. Just happened to get a couple of messes in a row, and I don't know. I wanted to come here and hope this would be better, and it was. I had a really excellent run here. This just felt really good. Alright, so who's what? I think I'm hearing Holy Priest noises. So that looks like that's what my healer is. Got a probably Elemental Shaman, Hunter, and what's that second one? Has a mana bar. Alright, let's puzzle out what that particular Volpera with the unpronounceable name is. Where is she? Is she with us? So Zappy Boy's the shaman.
None can stand against the serpent.
Right, okay, so Caster's here. Can't really... Oh, and I'm put to sleep. That Druid of the Fang was close enough to Lady Anacondra that I would have to take him while she's there. I don't have a hard interrupt at this level, so I just have to hold threat on these two without having them be in the same place, which is fine. Or just kill the Druid of the Fang real quick before bothering with Lady Anacondra. Where is... Okay, there she is. What's she doing? What is she? Oh, she's a fire mage. I saw a pyroblast. Okay. Took me a bit to figure it out. That's a flame strike. That's not what you want to be doing on a single target. Okay, so she hasn't learned all her buttons yet. I know how to play a fire mage. It's fine. Things take a bit to figure out sometimes. Alright, so Lady Anacondra. Following the route here that I've seen everybody else do, which seems perfectly fine. I have no problem with it at all. So turn left, Lady Anacondra, jump off, watch for Serpent Bloom, it's around. Over here is, what is it, Lord Pythos and Cobran, I think? I knew somebody would get that Serpent Bloom. I'm going to get this one. I'm out in front, and I'm going to take it. Tank only gets so many opportunities to go off the beaten path for these things. So I don't want to slow down the group. As you know, I'm playing at the pace I like to play at. Which, based on what I've seen of everybody else in the Dungeon Finder, is kind of like a middling pace. There are a lot of people who want to go faster than I go. And a decent number who want to go slower too. Where'd that Deviant Viper come from? I did not see it on my way up. It was not visible to me. Huh. Somebody found it somewhere. Gotta watch for stuff like that. Ideally, I would like to have picked it up as I went by. So yeah, I'm a lot more used to playing Protection Paladin now, and you know, I don't have a rotation. I just kinda press buttons as they come up and it more or less works. Sometimes save up an ability like a Judgment or an Avenger's Shield if I need to, if I know I'm about to need a ranged attack on something. But you know, Hammer of the Righteous whenever it's off cooldown, Shield of the Righteous when I want to take a little less damage, Consecration if it's not up. And that's pretty much it. Just don't worry about much else. Frees me up to think about positioning and threat management and all the other things that are important for a tank, rather than hyper-focusing on my action bar. So even though I don't have an actual interrupt, I do have Hammer of Justice, my number 7, which is a stun. Stun doesn't work on everything, but I probably could have put a stop to that Druid's Slumber with it if I needed to. It's hard to say. Some bosses are susceptible to that sort of thing, some are not. I'm not sure about his status. I think there's a Serpent Bloom to my right. Yep, Hunter went for it. I'm learning their spawn locations. And the noises this character makes. I don't love them. They're fine, I guess, but they're weird. Certainly don't regret making a Zandalari troll paladin. Tauren would have been fine, but you know, Zandalari's cool too. But I don't know, just like aesthetically she's not my favorite character to play. Well, I can yell at you and make you target me for a moment, but somebody else is going to pick up threats. Unless someone else interrupts those, I have no way to move them together, so I'm just going to keep them apart. And I don't really want things behind me. Yeah, so positioning, still a little tricky. Things don't always cooperate. They like to end up behind me where they can deal critical strikes, and actually they can do that from the front too, where I can't block their attacks with my shield. So trying to pick up a couple of extra, well, one extra enemy there, I guess. I feel like at this point I'd be confident enough to get that other group up there, too. I'm looking at it, my cursor's there. But I did wait to finish my business there before I went for them. At these low levels, healers don't always have the toolkit to be able to actually dump their mana bar for enough throughput. Like, I'm having a lot of trouble with that on this character when I, Oh yeah, I should show some dungeons with her as a holy paladin. It's kind of weird, very different from Mistweaver, and yeah, I just don't have a lot of throughput at this level. Like, if somebody's taking damage faster than my normal healing will restore their health, then there's very little I can do to go any faster than I go. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating because it's like, I have a mana bar, I see my target dying, there's nothing I can do about it. So yeah, anyway, so I don't want to pull too much at a time and stress out a low-level healer who doesn't have the throughput and toolkit for handling that sort of thing yet. Yeah, like right here, I was getting a little bit overrun. What is that? Like, what race? Is that another Zandalari? How many fingers do they have? Female? Male? That hood is completely covering... Okay, I think that is... Boy, I cannot tell what I'm looking at there. Okay, more than 2 fingers per hand. Is that a Nightborn? Yeah, it's a Nightborn. Okay, Nightborn Priest. Female, I think? It's hard to tell with Nightborn. I kinda wish that enormous tooltip in the lower right didn't always show up that way. I mean, I guess it's not really covering anything all that important, but sometimes I could do without it. One of these people took a lot more fall damage than the rest. I took the safer way down. Oh, right, I have, whatever that ability is called. Boy, I sure don't know its name right now, but I can summon a mount for just a moment. I assume it'll get faster when I just get faster riding in general at level 40. It's not super fast yet, but it is a small little speed boost I can do if I want to run faster for a moment. Man, what is that thing called? It's Crusader's something... It's not like Crusader's Mount. Crusader's Steed... Maybe it doesn't have Crusader in it. I don't know. Anyway. That ability that summons a something under me. So let's see. 2 optional bosses along here, I think? Scum and Kresh. I'm keeping my eye out for them. Wasn't going to fight those Crocolisks. There's Kresh. But somebody got their attention. Two people got a pendant. Since loot is personal now, it's not uncommon to see the same item drop more than once from the boss. It didn't used to happen. Back when you had to roll need or greed on loot. Look at that leg shuffle. This system is so much better. I like it a whole lot more. There's like 0 loot drama anymore because you can't press the wrong button for, you know, the etiquette of the time. It just automatically either gives it to you or doesn't give it to you. There is still loot trading, so if somebody sees someone get something that they really want, or every once in a while you'll see a request for it, so you know, if a piece of gear would be an upgrade for somebody else and I get it, then I'm usually happy to pass it to them. But most of the time, people are just happy to get what they get and not worry too much about it. Equipment doesn't really... It feels a whole lot different now that it just scales to your level. You know, a piece of equipment with a particular name just doesn't really have its own identity anymore, and... individual level. So like, you know, when I see whatever that thing was called, I don't know. Something was lost in the automatic scaling of all gear to your own level. I mean, it's nice in a way. Like, you can run Wailing Caverns all the way up to level 60 and still be getting upgrades from it. But I don't know. Some identity is lost from that. Pros and cons. I had the impression that stopped happening in current expansion, but no, it goes all the way up to max level. Things keep on scaling the same way. That's just the way it is these days. But yeah, then at level 120, then there's this whole secondary leveling of your equipment and stuff. Like, when I first reached level 120, the equipment I had been getting was like item level 266 or something, I think. And 350 average was the minimum for queuing for heroic dungeons. So I had a huge gap to fill before I even was eligible for those. But there's a bunch of stuff you can do where it just, like... I think there are things that pay attention to your item level and give you better stuff so that it would be an upgrade. Just to sort of, like, gently level up your equipment automatically. I don't know, it's weird. The whole gear system in this game just feels like, I don't know, it's gone through so many revisions and has a lot of vestiges of old systems and has been rebalanced and tweaked many, many, many times. I'm just noticing all these weird little trails of stones on the ground. They are very deliberately arranged. This part of the caverns that we're in right here apparently was part of what was changed so heavily in, I guess it would have been Cataclysm, because this place used to be a huge confusing maze, but it's kind of just a mostly linear figure 8 sort of pattern now. And this is the particular part that used to be a big maze, and is not so much anymore. Where's that consecration? Press that 5 key. There we go. It bothers me when I don't have it up. And I guess I notice more when I'm watching than when I'm playing. One more Serpent Bloom for me. Everybody else has already collected their 5, I think. I don't know its spawn locations in this part of the dungeon as well as elsewhere, because I'm usually done by now. Let's see, so what are the effects of consecration again? Hammer of the Righteous only hits multiple targets when you're standing in consecration, I think. Otherwise it's single target. And what's the other thing? Shield of the Righteous does something different. My number 4. I forget what it is, though. Maybe it's also a multi-target hitting if consecrated? Anyway, I really just want it up all the time. I don't ever want to be hitting something without that glowy yellow stuff on the ground. There's that last Serpent Bloom. I had trouble clicking on it. It's very small. Okay, done with that finally. Didn't have to take too many detours. Man, this is such a good dungeon. I just never have a bad time in here. The very end of it kind of drags on for a bit, but there's just enough going on that it's always interesting. Something's shooting lightning from over there. Who's to my right? I should pay attention to it. A Druid of the Fang. Okay, so that Druid has been handled by someone. She's all chained up in ice. So I'm just hoping, I'm keeping an eye on her, hoping I don't have to worry about her until Lord Serpentis is down. I have no idea how long Chains of Ice lasts, or whatever that's even called. I think Chains of Ice, under that name, is actually a Death Knight skill. Ice Trap? I don't know. I think it's a hunter thing, Hunter Trap. You set down a trap and it... I don't know. My hunter doesn't have it yet. So I don't know. Huh. Another same item to party members. There might just not be all that much in that particular boss's loot table to give away, so it's likely to give duplicates. So when I come back to dungeons like this and run them solo, because I sometimes do for practicing routes and other purposes, a lot of the time the loot table will... So it makes sure to give something that I can wear. So as a paladin, for example, that would be plate armor. You know, as a monk, that would be leather armor necessarily. If there's only like one piece of plate armor that can be dropped by that boss, sometimes it'll drop 2 for me. And I've noticed a thing where I have to loot it once, you know, empty out its corpse, then come back and loot it a second time because it has to generate another of the same item, and it can't do 2 at once looted at the same time. So if I forget to do that second looting, that thing just ends up in my mailbox later, because the postmaster sends it to me. Making sure everybody knows where we're going, down this hole. You can teleport out and back and it's quicker, but this is the fun way. I like to go down the hole. Through the water. Doesn't take that much longer. Just feels better than warping around all over the place. Because this puts you basically right back at the entrance. So right, as usual, go back, turn in quests if you want, talk to Muyo, start the gauntlet, wake Gnarlex the Dreamer, and then you're done. I probably should have started it before turning in these quests just to get him moving. There would have been time. Though not if I'm going to sit here and debate which piece of gear I want for this long. I was indecisive. Level 29. Nothing special happens at 29.
I've been expecting you.
So I think at this point I pretty much know all the places where he's going to stop and get attacked. So there's one right at this right turn here. I'm ready for it. Then another in Lady Anacondra's Ring of Torches, and I think that's actually all. You gotta run through a part of the dungeon you won't have gone to on the route that everybody takes here. So fight through a few there. Maybe there is an ambush in that and you just don't notice because it's mixed in with regular monsters. Let's watch closely, see if I can detect if that's what's going on. So he'll stop here and do something. Banish the spirits of the slain Fang Lords. I didn't remember exactly where the monsters came from. Looks like they just appear right around him, so I was in the right place. If I consecrated, That Hammer of the Righteous would have hit all three of those. It lasts 15 seconds, I think? Just like some of the mage abilities I was talking about earlier today. That's... No, it's 12 seconds, huh? Okay. It's just so short. It'd be nice if it lasted a bit longer. It has a much more satisfying effect than it used to. It used to just sort of make a little whoosh sound and just spread that stuff on the ground, but now the visual effect is much nicer than sound itself. There have been a lot of little upgrades like that just to make spells more satisfying to cast. I like it. So I kind of just want to pick up all of the things between here and our goal. Oh, there's a druid there. He's getting in the way of that goal. I see a slime over there, and I think there's one more dinosaur. And then we'll be in the clear for the final gauntlet here. Yeah, moving on with that. So Muyo also always has to reset to the last place where he was standing when combat started, before he'll keep walking along with you. And then he starts walking real slow when he comes into this area. He's back there somewhere. He'll catch up eventually. There he is. And now there's just nothing to do until he walks slowly over to this table here. So I join him. And again, for this event, I didn't really have it memorized, like, where the stuff comes from the water. I know there's some on the right. I'm not sure if there's any on the left, though, so I'm going to keep a close eye on other parts of this than where I'm looking. Like, I guess those are actually trying to get to Gnarlex and Muyo here. They'll never reach it. Oh, that's a, heirloom, I think? Odd time to be doing that kind of gear management, but fair enough. So there... Okay, yeah, so there's, 2 to the right, 3 straight ahead, nothing to the left, I guess? For this wave? Oh no, there's several from the right. Got it. And then final boss, right? There he is. Okay, so Hammer of Justice works on him. Whoa, and it lasts for a long time. That was quite the stun. That was like 3 seconds or something. Why is it spinning around so much? Oh, that's just his casting animation, I guess. Okay. I get it. Okay, so hunter pets try to automatically stand behind the thing they're attacking. So Mutanus there is targeting that serpent, the hunter's pets, and by targeting it, he causes the serpent to try to go behind him. So they just keep spinning around each other. That's pretty good. Alright, anyway, Wailing Caverns, always a good time. That's what it's like from a tank perspective. See you next time.